This is Never Down, Never Out with T.R. Matson. This podcast is about discipline when motivation fades, resilience when things get hard, and showing up when quitting would be easier. No hype, no shortcuts, just the mindset required to build something real. One day at a time. Let's get into it. Welcome back. Never down, never out, right? That's what we're doing today. That's what we're working on today. T.R. Matson here. Thanks for tuning in. Episode 71. We are in the home stretch of this. As a reminder for anybody who hasn't been with us the whole time, which I think most people have at this point. If you look at the playlist on YouTube, the first 30 episodes, Foundation to Mental Toughness. Talk about a lot. We talk about setting up a lot of things there. And then since episode 31, so for the last 40 episodes now, is that right? My goodness, public math. Discipline, habits, daily execution. So it might feel like we're repeating ourselves a lot. I don't think so. I mean, there are going to be, we've talked about this before, there's going to be some repetition. I think that's important because you never know when somebody's going to come into this, with the way algorithms work. Who knows, right? So it's important to make sure that we're covering things, and repetition is important to that, at least in my opinion, which since I'm the one talking, I guess that's the opinion, unless it's in the comments, and then you could have yours. So today we are going to kick this off. How discipline creates identity. This is something I think we all notice, but don't really notice. What the heck does that mean? Well, think about it. Create any environment, right? Whether it's the gym, a classroom that you're in, a work environment. There are people there that are disciplined. The gym's easy, right? You'll see the same people. And they're in great shape. And it becomes their identity. That discipline of coming in becomes who they are. They need that gym time because it's gone past a level of just an activity, and it's become them. And if you take it away from them, they suffer immensely and immediately. The same thing can be said for people at work. The same thing can be said for a classroom environment. The people that are there, that are really, truly working hard, whether it's, studying for a class, working on a class, or at work in charge of projects, working on big projects, trying to work their way up promotion-wise. If you pull it away from them, they're going to stagger. I could talk about a situation where it happened to me about a year and a half ago. At my airline, I had been teaching for going on 7 years, 5 years as a first officer, almost 2 years as a captain. And there were going to be cuts in the training department, size-wise. They were downsizing it, and for whatever reason, I was told it was because I was the last captain instructor hired, which could very well be the case. It's irrelevant, the case now. But I got cut and sent back to flying the line full time, which it's a heck of a fallback, right? I mean, that's the job I got hired to do at the airline. But it did kind of surprise me, and I think a lot of people around me. And I staggered. If I go back and watch some of the podcasts they did with Mover and Gonki, it shows I was searching for who I was because at my core, I genuinely love teaching. And maybe that's part of the reason that this podcast happened, because in a way, maybe these are lessons that I've learned that I'm trying to pass on to my kids and others. Um, but I definitely stumbled. I was looking for my identity. They took away my identity at the moment, and excuse me, I had to figure out who I was. And after some time, I realized I wasn't being an instructor didn't define my faith in God, my family life. That defines me. Who I am as a husband, who I am as a father, and a follower. That defines me. The other stuff is just jobs. So I think it's important to look at this on both sides. There is a time and a place for everything. And there was a time where I needed to grind hard, be disciplined, be the go to person because it provided a tremendous amount for my family. I was home more. I had purpose, which that was the original reason I got into the instructor job, is as I missed that in the Navy. I genuinely, I mean, you have to realize my last job before leaving active duty was being in charge of teaching all the guys and girls how to land on aircraft carriers. That is a purpose-filled job, a job that I absolutely loved. To this day, I will run into people and in the airport, and they'll hug me. You were my paddles. Like, thank you. I tried to kill myself, and behind the ship, and you saved me, and I'll remember. It's amazing how your mind works. I remember those people, the good, the bad, all of them, and there was so much purpose in that. There was so much drive in that got me up every day. I love that job. So then to come to the airlines, and there's nothing wrong with the airlines. The airlines is a very important job. Being an airline pilot is extremely important. You have a lot of people that trust you to make split-second decisions if the time comes with their lives in your hands. They can't do anything about it. I mean, that's a big responsibility that I think it's very easy to gloss over in the day-to-day because 99.9% of the time it's sitting up there talking to the person next to you, monitoring systems and drinking coffee. So the instructor job at the airlines gave me a lot of purpose, and I genuinely enjoyed it. But it, for whatever reason, was not the path I was supposed to be on anymore. Okay. So while it causes you to stumble when that happens to your identity, it doesn't change who we are at the core, right? You can have the pity party if it's not what you thought you wanted, but eventually you have to realize you're not in charge. You can't control everything. I can't control what people think of me. I can't control their motives. I can't control any of that. I can just be me and be genuine and work hard. And that's where my discipline, while directed at teaching, became an identity. When that was taken away, that same discipline directed at parenting, being a good husband, now a podcast, trying to be a mentor, all of that has strengthened. And I would argue all of that is far more important at the end of the day. So while it seems so simple when we first think about it and we talk about the guy or girl at the gym that's in great shape, realize their discipline is their identity, and it may very well be yours too. But ask yourself this: is it the identity that you want it to be? In other words, when my time is done here on this planet, do I want to be remembered as a naval aviator, an instructor, an airline pilot, podcaster, a writer? Or do I really want to be remembered as a dedicated husband, a loving father, a hardworking individual, a person that didn't always do it right, but was always working to be better tomorrow than they were today? Now, I know the answer, but my answer is not the important one. Yours is. So let's take some time today, and it's easy to understand that your discipline in whatever it is you focus it on becomes who you are. But let's make sure that it's the who you are that you actually want to be. That's what's important at the end of the day. Thanks again for tuning in. Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. If this episode helped you, don't just listen, apply it. Progress is built in what you do after the message ends. Remember, never down, never out. I'll see you tomorrow.